1. The life everyone envied. People said Alex Monroe had it all. At 36, she was one of the youngest partners at Monroe, Hale & Bishop, a boutique Manhattan family law firm that specialized in high-net-worth divorces, custody battles, and quietly lethal prenups. She'd argued cases in front of judges whose portraits hung in the courthouse hallways. Her cross-examinations were studied by associates like scripture. She was married to Evan Monroe, charming, silver-tongued, impeccably dressed, another partner in the firm, and the man most people assumed was the reason Alex had succeeded so quickly. They were wrong. Alex was the reason the firm had grown from a respected practice into a powerhouse. She built client trust the old-fashioned way, brutal preparation, flawless ethics, and silence when silence mattered. At home, though, the silence had started to feel wrong. It began with billing anomalies. Alex noticed things others wouldn't: miscellaneous charges that didn't quite line up, inflated client development expenses that didn't match calendar entries. She told herself it was firm growth, sloppy bookkeeping, nothing more. Then she noticed Lena Caldwell. 27. Brilliant. Hungry. Recently engaged to Alex's younger sister, Marissa. Lena was talented, no doubt. But Evan had started mentoring her a little too closely. Late nights. Closed-door meetings. Evan defending her mistakes with a little too much heat in his voice. Alex trusted facts, not feelings. So she watched. The truth arrived on a Tuesday night, unannounced. Alex was reviewing discovery requests when she opened the firm's internal security portal, something she rarely did anymore. She meant to pull footage for a client's internal theft case. Instead, she saw conference room B, 11:47 p.m. Evan. Lena. No sound. No ambiguity. Just hands, urgency, familiarity. Alex didn't scream. Didn't cry. Didn't throw the laptop. She closed it. And started building a case. Alex hired Rachel Kim, a forensic accountant known for dismantling offshore shell games and corporate frauds with surgical precision. "I don't need speculation," Alex said calmly. "I need proof that survives cross-examination." Rachel delivered. 6 months of padded billing. Luxury hotel stays billed as e-client mediation. Flights. Gifts. A hidden pattern of expense codes Evan himself had approved. Love, paid for with other people's trust, Marissa found out last. Alex told her over coffee, in a neutral voice that hurt more than shouting ever could. Marissa cried. Lena denied. Then confessed. The engagement ended in silence and locked doors. Alex offered no comfort. Only honesty. "Some betrayals," she said, "don't deserve reconciliation." The annual holiday gala was the firm's crown jewel. Black tie. Judges. Bar presidents. Clients worth 9 figures. Evan was scheduled to give the partner toast. Alex asked to add a year-in-review slideshow. No one questioned her. They should have. The slideshow began innocently. Case victories. Charity work. Smiling headshots. Then the color palette shifted. Blue, firm funds. Red, personal use. Yellow, dates. A timeline. Emails. Receipts. Security footage. And finally, the loop. Conference room B. Gasps. Phones lowered. A judge quietly standing up and leaving. Alex stood. "This firm was built on trust," she said evenly. "Tonight, I return it to its rightful owners." Within weeks, Evan was forced to sell his stake. A bar ethics investigation loomed. Lena resigned before formal discipline could begin. Alex assumed sole leadership. She renamed the firm Monroe Legal Group. Quietly. Decisively, Alex met Daniel Reyes, a federal prosecutor, during a complex custody case involving financial crimes. He didn't flirt. Didn't push. Didn't ask her to be smaller. He listened. They married 2 years later. Their daughter grew up in a house full of books, laughter, and truth. No secrets. No whispers. No fear. Alex still wore black to galas. But now, when people looked at her, they didn't see a partner's wife. They saw the woman who took silence and turned it into power. Some people destroy you in private. Others teach you exactly how strong you are in public. And Alex Monroe never lost another case again. The legal world doesn't explode when scandal hits. It freezes. Phones stop ringing. Emails pause mid-thread. Judges stop returning calls, not out of judgment, but distance. No one wants proximity to fallout. Alex understood this instinctively. The morning after the gala, she arrived at the office at 6:15 a.m., coat still smelling faintly of champagne and winter air. The building was quiet in that reverent way reserved for places where reputations are made, or buried. Evan's nameplate was already gone. Facilities hadn't been instructed to remove it. Someone had done it on their own. The bar association moved faster than expected. Rachel Kim's forensic report had been airtight, color-coded, cross-referenced, time-stamped. Alex hadn't embellished a single fact. She never needed to. Evan's attorney tried the usual defenses. Marital breakdown. Emotional distress. Ambiguous expense policies. None of it held. When asked why he billed personal hotel stays to vulnerable divorce clients, Evan had no answer that didn't sound like theft. The ethics committee didn't yell. They didn't threaten. They simply asked questions until silence became confession. Marissa disappeared for months. Blocked Alex. Changed her number. Left the city. When she finally reached out, it was through a handwritten letter mailed to the firm. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know I believed her when she said it was over. I wanted it to be true. Alex folded the letter carefully and placed it in a drawer. Some wounds didn't bleed anymore, but they hadn't healed either. Alex didn't fire anyone in anger. She restructured. She eliminated opaque billing categories. Implemented third-party audits. Made ethics training mandatory, even for partners. Some senior attorneys left. She let them. Others stayed, and flourished. Within a year, Monroe Legal Group had fewer clients but stronger ones, drawn by a reputation for integrity that couldn't be bought or borrowed. Daniel Reyes never asked about Evan. Not once. They met in a conference room crowded with exhibits and tension, both representing different sides of a high-profile custody case tied to financial crimes. He challenged her arguments without condescension. Afterward, he asked if she wanted coffee. Not dinner. Not drinks. Coffee. They talked about books. About teaching. About silence. When Alex finally told him everything, he didn't interrupt. He just said, I'm glad you didn't let them take your voice. Their daughter, Elena, was born on a rainy April morning. Alex cried harder than she had at the gala. Not from pain. From relief. The house they raised her in was loud in all the right ways, music in the kitchen, books stacked on the stairs, conversations that didn't stop when someone entered the room. No locked doors. No secrets masquerading as professionalism. Alex ran into Evan once more. A courthouse hallway. Different floor. Different life. He looked older. Smaller. He nodded. She nodded back. That was all. Years later, a junior associate asked Alex how she stayed so calm under pressure. Alex smiled, just slightly. Because truth doesn't need volume, she said. It only needs timing. At the firm's 20-year anniversary, Alex stood at the podium again. This time, the slideshow ended with one image. A library. A child reading. Sunlight through a window. No scandal. No applause. Just a life rebuilt. Honestly. 10 years after the night that changed everything, Alex Monroe stood alone in the firm's original conference room. The same one. The long walnut table had been refinished. The glass walls now looked out over a different skyline, new buildings, new money, new stories. But the room still carried echoes, and Alex had learned not to fear them. She wasn't there for a scandal. She was there to donate the space. That morning, Monroe Legal Group officially transferred ownership of the room to a non-profit legal incubator for young family law attorneys, most of them women, most of them first-generation professionals. A small bronze plaque would go on the wall. As the last papers were signed, Alex slipped her wedding ring back into place and checked her phone. A photo from Daniel had just come through, Elena asleep on the couch, a book open on her chest, glasses crooked, exactly like Alex used to wear them. Home was waiting. Before leaving, Alex paused at the doorway and looked back once more. Not with anger. Not with triumph. But with gratitude. Because betrayal had tried to break her. Silence had tried to erase her. And power had assumed she would look away. Instead, she had learned something rare and permanent. Truth doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It waits. And when it finally speaks, everything else makes room. Alex turned off the lights, closed the door behind her, and walked forward into the life she had built, one honest choice at a time.